Protests, industry workers and climate groups have emerged as perhaps the biggest challenge for the Rishi Sunak government. In the latest, the British government will announce new proposals today to clamp down on disruptive protests. The move is aimed at broadening the range of situations in which police are able to act to prevent serious disruption. The government passed legislation to address this in 2022, but is now planning to go further with a new set of laws known as the Public Order Bill. The government says the new laws, if passed, will mean police can shut down disruptive protests preemptively. The government wants to amend the Public Order Bill before it becomes law to broaden the legal definition of serious disruption, give police more flexibility and provide legal clarity on when the new powers could be used. The bill is currently in the final stages of debate in Parliament and has drawn heavy criticism from civil rights groups who say it's anti-democratic and gives police too much power. The bill already includes the creation of a criminal offence for those who seek to lock themselves to objects or buildings and allows courts to restrict the freedoms of some protesters to prevent them from causing serious disruption. It builds on the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Act passed in April 2022. It sparked several large Kill the Bill protests.
Immunity, and we must not allow their investigation. And the government should not hide.
Coming to share your words to us,
on the Uyghurs and other Turkic Muslims.
See you next Wednesday.
Your concerns about the future.
Our struggle is theirs.
So the Public Order Bill is actually at the House of Lords at the moment, and the next amendment we're going to be hearing is on the 30th of January. But today we're also going to find out some of those little details, exactly what Public Order Bill is going to mean. At the moment, we do know that the police already have extra powers from this particular bill, and that they can stop people locking on to buildings around the country and to stop disruption if they try to. Now, this extra amendment, we understand, is going to be about making sure that there's not enough disruption on the roads so that people can happily get past if they need to. So that does mean that police will be able to stop any kind of disruption before it happens. Now, the problem here, of course, is where a lot of the people of Liberty are suggesting that why should they be stopping the protests, and what exactly does disruptions mean, because that is one of the underlying matters of this fact. At the moment, the peers and the MPs can stop this bill from coming into fruition. We are only in the House of Lords stage, and we still have the final amendment stages to go. But we are still quite close to the end, and the Public Order Bill is likely to put in more powers for the police as we go forward. Now, later today, we're also going to be hearing the second reading in the House of Commons for the anti-strike legislation. And this anti-strike legislation, which has been rumbling on to try and stop the protests from taking away all the workers from the rails, from the schools, from the NHS. It was try and put in a minimum level of service requirements that will be needed for whatever industry is going to go on strike. Now, that will have its second reading in the House of Commons later today. We're expecting that quite late this afternoon. So when that comes into force, then I think a lot of people, MPs, will also be airing their grievances about whether or not the UK is actively trying to stop protests from happening, because it is a human right to be able to protest in the future. I think that at the moment, a lot of people on the streets are getting quite frustrated with the amount of strikes that are stopping them just from getting to work and getting to their places of care or their offices. So what it'll be looking like is that it's going to be a unions versus the government versus the people to see how this moves forward. But once these bills are in place, and they won't be in place, whether it's the anti-strike bill or the public order place, unlikely to be in place until at least the middle of the year, or the anti-strike bill until at least next year. We're still going to be seeing protests. In fact, we understand later today there is going to be a protest on the streets of London for the rail unions.
Alex Isaac, live in London, many thanks.